with my little curly cues. Yo ho, all hands, hoist the colors high. Oh no. Well, that hurt. Am I fat? I have my camera on. You can just look at me and know the answer. You don't need to ask me if I'm fat. Like, it's one of those physical indicators. You can kind of just tell about somebody by looking. Not to be fat phobic or anything. Did you just spit on the wall? No, I'm a little bit more civilized than you are, so I have a trash can sitting by me. She's entitled to use the Fifth Amendment, and I would too if I was here. If I were here, I wouldn't want to be killed. Bro, she's not going to be killed, number one. And number two, even if she did, fuck her. She collaborated with Epstein. Let her spill the beans on every powerful person in Congress. Force her to spill the beans on every powerful person in Congress. And then I don't fucking care what happens to her. She was an Epstein collaborator. Fuck her. What, I'm supposed to give a crap about Ghislaine Maxwell, known collaborator of Epstein, the most powerful, influential, and well-connected of his many, many fixers and little personal accomplices? No. By the way, make sure you guys are hitting that like button as you're rolling in. We love to talk about interesting things that are worth talking about around here, but we like to do it with an interesting group of people that are worth talking to, and the best way that you can encourage that is by adding to the amount of likes that are sitting in the like bucket. So double press your screen or hit the button if you've got one. It really does help the channel and the stream out immensely. Thank you. Are you trans? Yes, don't spam. You're just going to get banned. Do not spam. Ghislaine Maxwell comes from an ultra wealthy family. I know. She comes from a super fucking wealthy family, just like pretty much anybody else that had like deep and long-standing ties to Epstein. Some of the world's most richest and most powerful lineages are connected in direct relation to Jeffrey Epstein in some way or another. This goes all the way down. You can't force her. She has the Fifth Amendment the same as everyone else. Morally, though, should she? We already know from the existing convictions that she was deeply involved as an accomplice of his. It is not. Honestly, you know what? Like, just morally. We can talk about the legal implications of it, but morally, shouldn't she? Like, we know from the convictions. We know from the convictions that she was Epstein's most close collaborator. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if there was some way to get that out of her? Maxwell is a ride or die. I fear you may be right, which is why we're just gonna, like I say we. That's why I think the apparatus of the American government should continue to pressure her until she fucking folds. Like, for some reason, they have no problem doing this when it's a little anarchist group or some kind of like Islamic terrorist in Guantanamo Bay. For some reason, waterboarding and enhanced interrogation methods are perfectly fine if you're going to use them against some jihadi. But if you want to use them against the pedophile collaborator with one of the most powerful people that's ever lived, no! Now who's the one with inconsistent morals? Have you ever had a job? My very first job was a cart pusher at Walmart. I did that for about 6 months before they transferred me to a cashier towards the holiday season. The holiday season burned me out like a motherfucker, and so I started calling out quite a bit towards the last 2 weeks of it, and I ended up getting fired from that job. You're more or less done with me. It makes sense. I stayed unemployed until I finished high school, at which point I got a job pretty much immediately after I graduated at an Office Max. You probably have never seen one. They're not that common anymore, and they've been shutting down all across the country. But it's a technology and office supply store that used to sell computers, office chairs, paper, notebooks, pens, things like that. I worked there as a technology specialist for almost a year, and then left that job to deal with some personal shit. Came back, and for a brief while, I had three jobs. I was working at Pizza Hut. I was working at a place called Catfish Kettle in Farmington, Missouri. I was working at a fruit warehouser called Proffer Produce in Park Hills, Missouri. There for a while, I was working all three of those at the same time. Thank you so much, Margot the Marnome, for the $5. I appreciate it a ton. You know that. And I love you so much for it. Spammers are out in force tonight. Geez. Well, let me do some things to make things a little bit easier on us. Hold on. Let me reset. I'm just going to modify some chat settings real quick, but the camera's going to cut out for a second. God damn it. Now it's even less functional. Why will it let me... Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to, like, do a thing here. Yay! It finally came back. It finally came back. Okay, cool. Well, it's back there. I can still use it anytime I need it. Anyway, what the fuck were we talking? Last thing I remember talking about was Ghislaine Maxwell and how if her testimony could be compelled, it would be very nice to have her testimony be compelled because for some reason we're perfectly okay doing it to like questionably guilty people in Guantanamo Bay, but we're not willing to do it to people that we know for a fucking fact are guilty as sin. I will be right back. And we back. Hopefully I didn't lose all my viewers. Hopefully you didn't all go away. Oh. Alrighty. Well, we got 26 still hanging out, I guess. What's it going? Well, what's happening? Oh. Yeah, chillhead. The problem is I can ruffle your feathers way better than you can ruffle anybody's feathers in here. You want me to try? If you want to just keep it chill, we will. But if you want me to ruffle your feathers back, I will. I'm too chill to get ruffled. You said something earlier about is this what people without jobs do while employed people are working? And I could sit here and try and defend this as like employment and give you the United States Bureau of Labor Statistic definition of employment. I could do that. Or I could just tell you, yeah, pretty much. I sit around smoking weed and making passive income while doing very little besides having conversation. And it does make people with traditional jobs rather bothered. A whole lot of people with traditional jobs get real bitter watching my ass. And I can see why. I can't blame them a bit. It does suck. That's the way they do it. Money for nothing and the chicks for free. I play that guitar on the MTV. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing and the chicks for free. I decided to not like try and like be a complete douchebag when I answered that. So it's like, I'm glad you're not bothered. That's good. Look at us making peace. I never shit on someone for making bank. I don't make bank. I'm a pretty shit tier YouTuber, but the fact that I'm able to make anything on this platform is kind of a miracle. To me, anyway. Considering I worked my whole life in retail and food service, this is pretty dope. Don't forget to tip your streamer. Yeah, so far, Margot's been the only person who's tipped today. Now, granted, I'm pretty sure I killed the viewership by, like, running away for fucking 10 minutes. So that kind of sucks. And I don't even remember what we were talking about. I might have to, like, make a new stream or something. We might have gone as far as we're going to go. YouTube saw that I was fucking gone, and now they're not going to promote me anymore. They're like, that bitch left that stream. That's not worth putting in the algorithm. You live with your parents? What the fuck? Huh? What? What? Huh? What? Where'd that come from? How did you feel about the halftime show? I thought Kid Rock did a fine job. Just what do you do for a living? Just curious if you don't minding sharing. Um, I work at a pencil factory. I make pencils all day. I'll throw a tip tomorrow for sure. I expected this to be hostile based on how it started, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Well, I mean, sometimes it does become hostile. It's entirely based on the responses of the people that message me. Like, people get thrown off here because I, like, respond to people's energy for the most part. Like, sometimes I'll decide to kill them with kindness, but a lot of times, if somebody comes me sideways, I'll come back to them pretty sideways too. And that can give people the mistaken impression that that's all I got in the tank, but it's not, you know. There are many sides to most people. That's true. Margot is stating a true fact. I might give you a little sample if you ask nicely, but if you want to unlock a couple of songs, $10 or more. Also, you can donate either through Cash App or the Super Chat button. And whenever I say this, I don't want people to feel like I'm talking specifically to them because, like, nice people always feel like, oh man, I wish I could, or something like that. But it's chill, it's fine. You can't sometimes you can. I just want to let people know that there's two ways they can do it. I just don't get bothered unless you mess with my money. Well, by that I hope you mean like actual, like physical, like fucking don't be stealing from me. Because there's some people who say that and then they mean like don't tax me, and it's like we gotta tax you, we gotta tax everybody. That's just how society works. I don't like it any more than you do. But as long as you mean just like don't be a fraudster, scammer, represent yourself wrong. Like the thing is, like for example, like what I like with what I do here, like it is such an honest and upfront transaction. You get your comment, question read or answered, and there's sometimes other goals that are attached to it. And if somebody donates $10 and says they want music, I always pick up the guitar and play. It's a very straightforward transaction. There are some people, though, that ain't like that. And you do got to be on the lookout for that shit. I don't mind taxes. Well, then you're okay with me. I get really frustrated sometimes because I argue with a lot of people on the right, and there are some people that are kind of like libertarian-esque and consider themselves on the right still, and they will argue till the cows come home about their right to not pay taxes. And I just don't know how to explain to them, you don't have some unalienable right to never pay taxes in your life. There is a little bit of collective effort required to keep society functioning. I'm sorry. And it just is. Oh, me too, chillhead. Me fucking too. You ain't kidding there. That's a big part of my advocacy. A huge part of my advocacy is all about fucking being more responsive of where our taxes are spent. Because right now, we have a giant preponderance of our taxes that go towards the military industrial complex, and there's a ton of waste, fraud, and abuse in that system. Nobody ever talks about it. They love to talk about the waste, fraud, and abuse in the SNAP system, but they don't ever want to talk about the waste, fraud, and abuse in the military industrial complex. But if we eliminated a lot of that shit and we started being more pragmatic about the contracts that we offer and that we seek with these companies, we would be able to save so fucking much money. And we could put that towards social programs that would make this country better, that would start to address some of the deficit. Thank you, William Vogt, for the $10. I appreciate it. If you want to hear some music, just let me know in the chat. You didn't specify in your super chat, so I'll keep talking for now. But let me know because you do have the privilege to if you want to. Hi, how are you doing tonight? I'm awesome, actually. I've got my kid for a few days, and I'm like in the creative mood, so hopefully I can get some work done. It's good. Things are tentatively okay. Thank you for asking. Trans, you got me. Are you saying that trans is like, wait, hold on. Is this the trans JQ thing? Trans people and Jewish people are not, there's no connection there, okay? I don't even know if there are any famous Jewish doctors that are involved in sex reassignment surgery. Like, and there's lots of Jewish doctors, so, but like, what is this meme and where did it come from? I hate Israel probably more than your Nazi ass does. Trans makes me want to puke. Well, don't take our dicks so hard down your throat then. That's literally just a you problem. You're trying to get too excited and you're too into it, so you're allowing yourself to go too far down our girl dicks. You got to be careful about that kind of thing. You make me want to puke? Well, back up off the dick then. Like I said. Very simple. Hi, Izzy Wagner. I have no love life. I mean, I've had a pretty wide and abundant love life. I don't have a partner right now, but I'm also not really seeking one, you know? I'm confused. I thought there was nothing there. Do you... wait, hold on. Do you think trans people, like, we come out as trans and then we, like... Some people really have no idea what underlies the trans experience. Okay, just so you know, I'm not a Ken doll down there. I still have a penis. I'm aware of my penis. I know that I was assigned male at birth. That's an inherent and intrinsic part to a basic understanding of transgender science, is understanding gender assigned at birth, sex assigned at birth, the outward phenotype associated with a given sex. All of these are fundamental understandings you have to even be able to progress to the point where you understand the science behind trans people. Thank you so much for the $2. Sure, you can play some music. I mean, hey, that's up to you. If you want to hear it, William, it sounds like you do. I might play some. I think I will, because you have declared that you do want some with an extra $2. But the way you said it makes it sound like you don't necessarily want it, but you do want me to have, like, the feeling that I can. It's a little shaky, but I'll take it. Surgery can change that? Yes, 100%. Eventually, I would love to be able to afford sex reassignment surgery, for sure. Do you have extreme depression because of it? No. No, actually, I've got, like, hardly any compared to when I was not out as trans. Like, before I came out as trans, I lived a pretty overwhelmingly miserable life. Unless I was super stoned, I was pretty fucking depressed and miserable. Now, like, you know, weed or no weed, I go through periods of depression, but they are like the floor is a lot higher than it used to be, and the highs go a lot higher than they used to. So, like, my general mood has been elevated. Like, I'll probably always have, like, that up and down kind of thing, but whatever. Nothing I've ever done in life has really made a dent in that. There's things I've learned to cope with it and deal with it, but, I'm probably never going to be rid of it completely. Thank you guys for being so generous tonight, by the way. You guys have donated $17 already, and if you would like to donate more, I would just like to remind everybody here that I have a Cash App, which is linked down below. That does not get any fee taken out of it by YouTube, and it's usable instantly. So you can help me out immensely by donating there. You can also use the Super Chat button like people have been so far. Let's see. We're going to move this mic over here because that seemed to have a pretty good effect last time. And William paid for some songs, so you guys might just have to deal with it. We are meant to be balanced, feminine and masculine energies, both male and female. No, I don't really think so. That's like the argument that we're, like, all meant to be non-binary. I don't know, man. I don't think human beings are meant to be any particular gender makeup. I think that gender is, like, for the most part, a sociological construct and a consequence of cultural development. You can change what gender means through concerted effort. This is the first song I ever sang my son, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because it's like a loud, raucous punk song. Sat on the bulb rocks of plum wine, and we watched the fog roll and swallow the bridge on the bay. thought I could live here, but I'm stuck in here, sweating and freezing 3,000 away. Oh, Pennsylvania, 3-mile island, coal fires buckle, miners highway. Love just to leave you, but it's good to see you. And old down, Northtown City, PA. Where we all come from, most died of the black lung, another browbeater, a boxer and sane. We finally caught the cops, made a few calls, they opened his cell, never fought him again. Oh, Pennsylvania, 3-mile island, coal fires buckle, miners highway. I'd love just to leave you, but it's good to see you. And old Down, Hostile City, PA. And old Down, Hostile City, PA. Wake me when Steel City's road signs shine in my face. Was that a peep show with drive-through windows? The gun shows got carousels and fun, okay. It says church in neon, it asks me what's beyond. If I had to guess, I'd say more of the same. Oh, Pennsylvania, 3-mile island, coal fires buckle, miners highway. I'd love just to leave you, but it's good to see you. And old Down, Hostile City, PA. I feel like that's a good warm-up song, but it's not, you know, like the friendliest to my voice in that particular key. Who was that by? That was Mischief Brew? It was either Mischief Brew or The Orphans. You'll find it under one of those two names. The song's called Old Pennsylvania. Thank you for playing. Well, thank you for donating, William. And as far as I'm concerned, we can keep on playing. We can keep on talking. It's entirely up to you guys. Just make a music channel. What the fuck are you doing with your life? What do you mean, Gillette? I can't tell if you're making fun of me or insulting me or being like, I can't tell if it's a compliment. I don't know what the intention is there. I kind of like to look at this channel as like a variety show sometimes, but I don't know. Like, there's not a single person on YouTube I can think of that has music and politics on the same damn channel. Why can't I be the first? You know? You're an amazing guitar player? I don't know about that. I'm a decent rhythm guitarist, I guess, but I appreciate it. I do. I subscribe to your channel. Based. Red pilled. Based and Phoebes pilled. Focus on it. What do you say that? I feel like I did focus on it. For 2 years, I lived in a minivan, traveled to the United States, and used this to pay for my gas. And eventually, I got kind of burned out on it. I don't know. I definitely think that, given enough resources, I could probably put out some interesting musical stuff. But I don't know that I'm I don't know that I've got any more giant leaps in understanding to be made when it comes to guitar skill. I might I'm sure I'm gonna get better with time, as anybody does. But I've been playing for 10 years at this point, and those 2 years was a lot of time to spend with the instrument. a lot of time to spend with the instrument. And what was I gonna say? What was the fucking shit I was about to say? The other thing, I might eventually get better at riffing because I do keep trying to learn more finger style sections. It's not my fucking gig, but I would like to be able to do. I need to learn my scales, for example. I can't play scales, such a basic guitarist thing to be able to do. I can't fucking do it because I'm a rhythm guitarist. For $10 or more, this is a music channel. I love that. Exactly. No glaze, but your version was way better acoustic, way more heartfelt and folksy punk. Really? Nice. That's dope. You're hop off for tonight. Well, have a good night. That's so fucking cool. This coming from a trad skin, aka Sharp. Well, look at us coming together over music like we always have. Breakdown 1979. Cool kids never have the time. On a live wire, you and I should meet on stream. June love skipping like a stone. The headlights pointed at the door. You and I'm sure we never see. And we don't even care to shake these hip blues. And we don't know where our bones will rest. Dust, I guess, forgotten, buried in the dust below. Break down the shaking and the board. We weren't sure just what we were looking for. Morphine City slipping dues out to sea. But we don't even care, as restless as we are. And we found love in the land of 1,000 guilds and poured cement, lamented in a shirt to dust and down below. Faster than the speed of sound. Faster than we thought we'd go. Miles. Justin never knew the rules. She hung out with us freaks and ghouls. No apologies ever need be made. I know you better than you fake it to see that we don't even care to shake these zipper blues, and we don't know just where our bones will rest. Dust, I guess, lamented in a shoe in the dust below. Turn the heater off for a minute, I guess. My girl thinks you're a robot. She's drunk. I'm not a robot, I promise. I'm real. Real as a heart attack. Said I. Hi. Do you think it was only 271K? What? Do I think what was? What weed are you smoking? I love weed, dude. I don't even know what this shit is. It's gas station THCA. It's lame. She said hi. Well, hi. I don't know if I said that already. Did I read that message already? Probably. Cans of food, filtered water, and pictures of you. And I'm not coming out until this is all over. And I'm looking through the glass where the light bends out the tracks. And I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, pretending that the echoes belong to someone the body's finally gone. Wanted to walk through the empty streets, feel something solid underneath my feet. All the radio reports recommended that I stay indoors, because the air outside will make ourselves divided. I don't want it rain, and the boils underneath my skin will feel it until the skin splits and we explode. And it won't be a pretty sight. And we'll be gone. Silhouettes till the body's finally gone. And we'll be gone. Silhouettes till the body's finally gone. Amethyst. I hope everyone has a good night. Aw, William, are you leaving? Well, thank you for the donos. You are fucking awesome for that. Genuinely and coolly, and yeah, dude. It is people like you that make this shit so worth doing. Because, like, not only is it fun and enjoyable, but people genuinely like me and sometimes hate me enough to pay me for it. So I'm a pig in shit, and that's because of folks like you. So thank you. Trump is at the top of his game. Really? You think so? He doesn't seem like he's at the top of his game to me. His support among white voters is pretty much lower than it's ever been. That's a desperate sign of collapse among the MAGA movement, because for the longest time, white voters have been some of his biggest and most reliable voter base. 57% of white voters gave their vote to Trump in 2024, and I think the numbers were even higher in previous years. So the fact that he is now down 10 points with the group he used to be like getting a majority from is pretty fucking worrisome for the MAGA movement. It's not going to be looked at as such. When things like this come out, MAGA's response is always to circle the wagons. They're increasingly smaller set of wagons. So we're not going to get the truth out of them, of course, but we can see it as plain as day. I voted for Trump, but I regret that decision. Hey, I don't hold it against you. Dude, there are plenty of people who voted for Trump for fucking economic reasons because they thought he was going to do this, that, or the other thing, man. People vote for all kinds of fucking shit. I mean, I get that you regret it, and I appreciate that you understand that that was probably not the best decision, but I have to admit, we didn't have a very good slate of candidates in 2024. I didn't vote at all, so who am I to bitch, right? But these policies affect all of us, and I think that a lot of people made decisions with what they thought was the best information they had at the time. What we need to do really is figure out how the fuck we move forward. In my opinion, the way we move forward is by coalescing around a strong third party or independent movement, or failing short of that, Democrats who are completely unwilling to bend the knee to old school corporate interests. We need a whole slew of people who are willing to go to bat for the American people. That's what I think, anyway. Everybody's got their own answers as to what should be done about the situation we all find ourselves in. But I think we need people with spines, and I think they need to be working for us, not the billionaires, not the people at the very top. And I always thought it was pretty obvious that somebody like Trump was only ever going to work for those at the top, mainly, maybe the middle class will occasionally get a crumb or two, but a lot of people were not of that opinion, and I think there has to be room for people like that to figure, like, damn, that might have been the right choice looking back at things. We need an actual leader. Yeah, I mean, we need someone with bold ideas that aren't just dangerous ideas. Does that make sense? Like, boldness is good, but when that boldness is directed towards, like, illegally arresting the leader of Venezuela, that's not exactly the kind of boldness I want, you know? We need to have younger presidents, not older people. Oh, 100% agree, William. 100% agree. Joe Biden was too old. Donald Trump this time was too old. Probably was too old when he first got elected. You guys realize we've elected older and older presidents for the last 50 years. It is actually kind of insane. Like, presidents used to be like in their 50s or 60s when they got elected, usually, you know, and every so often you'd have one even younger, but not no more. The last time we elected a like relatively fresh young statesman was like the election of Barack Obama, and like Obama was a rising political figure for like 10 or 15 years before he ever touched the presidency, you know. So who's our other option? Well, that's like kind of what I'm trying to tell you guys is that now is the time to keep an eye out for that, or to maybe link arms with someone that is doing that already. Like, there's a number of parties that are vying for that third party support kind of thing right now. Some of them have more name recognition than others. Some of them's name recognition is negative. Like, there's a lot of people that don't want to vote for the Libertarian Party because they feel like there's no real principles there, and I can kind of see their point. There's also a lot of people that don't want to vote for the Green Party because they feel like they're just a front for like pro-Russia policy, and I can kind of see their point there. Um, we need a new independent or third-party movement. Either someone like if we're talking about the presidential race, that then you know it's someone who can unite a broad coalition of people along policy lines, which is something that could happen. There is a preponderance of Americans. There are a preponderance of Americans, I think is actually the right syntax there. There are a preponderance of Americans who would be willing to vote for a candidate that actually represented the policies that they want to see enacted. There are tons of people that would love to not be pandered to with euphemistic language and pretty fucking flowery talks about how bad Trump is and all this. They just want to see policy. They just want to see what exactly do you want to fight for. And honestly, well, man, we could talk about this all night. Let me not rant. Let me touch back with the chat. Libertarians are just failed Republicans with bongs. Kind of how I feel about them. I mean, that's why part of the reason why I like them more, mind you, is because I feel like they at least they got the bongs right. But increasingly, Republicans have bongs, failure or no. Even like without the libertarian connotations, like Republicans have basically come over on weed for the most part. You know who is actually responsible for keeping weed illegal? You know why weed is still illegal, really, at this point? It's because the tobacco lobby doesn't want it legal and the alcohol lobby doesn't want it legal. That's it. It's mainly those two fucking lobbies. They don't want another competitor in the drug market, basically. They don't want another fucking competitor in the legal recreational drug market when it's fucking stupid because, like, who the fuck is going to give up drinking to smoke weed? Like, they're not I just feel like they're two different experiences, like, I guess someone might give up drinking to quit weed, or I'm sorry, someone might give up drink if well, maybe that's the thing they're worried about then, is because people would quit drinking if they had access to like recreational cannabis and could find another way to manage their mood or whatever without getting super fucked up and drunk. I don't know. Maybe it is a legitimate industry concern, but it's not something that should be answered with like over regulation and a stifled marketplace. Like Tough Titty said to Kitty when the milk went dry, adopt or die is what I'd tell him. I'd tell him adapt or die. Sounds like you're biased. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you saying that the trans girl with the pride flag behind her and the political slogans on her guitar might be a little biased? Hold on. Are you communist? I'd call myself an anarchist. I'd say I'm a market socialist in the near term and a anarcho-syndicalist in the long term. Figured. Well, what are you? What's your political affiliation? You know, won the war on drugs? Drugs. No, I know. That's why it's a fundamentally flawed policy. Drugs have won the war on drugs handily, every battle. It's 99-0. Strict capitalist liberal. Why are you such a fan of slavery, and how? No, actually, I have one question. Okay, and it's very simple. I'm genuinely curious. Um, does it feel weird to be an open and proud advocate for slavery in 2026? I've always wanted to meet a Confederate, but I've never, you know, I've actually never met a neo Confederate despite living in Mississippi. Explain. In my mind, you cannot be a strict capitalist unless you're willing to take it to the ultimate place. You like, how strict are we talking, right? Because in my mind, the same justifications that would be used um, to uh, to violate people's personal property rights, or I'm sorry, private property rights back in the day when it came to slavery, could also be applied to some sort of redistributive model in the modern day. You know, like okay, so let me run you through this, right? um Number one, if you're a strict capitalist, you have to on some level believe that any transaction in the marketplace that is consensual, like, I guess it depends on how far you want to go, right? Because some people say they're strict capitalists, but what they mean is, I support a market with as few regulations on it as possible to keep foods unpoisoned and human beings out of chains of chattel slavery. That is where some people draw the line. Is that where you draw the line? We got our reparations. I would love to give Black Americans reparations. As Jesse Lee Peterson says, I love Black people. I would love to do reparations. I personally can't do it. Like, I don't have any power. Now, granted, once I start making enough money, I would love to do some like fundraiser streams. Like, once I'm like popular enough to justify the expenditure of effort and organizing, it would be really nice to do some like fundraiser streams for like Black liberation movement kind of affiliated um, like mutual aid orgs here in the States. That could be kind of cool. That could be an interesting opportunity. But, you know, I'm not a politician. And I don't know if you've noticed, but American politicians aren't exactly keen on listening to crazy anarchist communists from Mississippi. Not exactly a stable voting base that can be looked after and listened to with regularity. You understand? I recognize that I'm an American political absurdity. It's fine. It is what it is. People like you far outnumber people like me. As long as we can agree on universal health care, as far as I'm concerned, you're fine. Oh, let me explain what I mean, right? So once again, I need to know more about your position, chillheads, because like when you say you support a strict capitalism kind of system, are you like what to what degree do you support a free market? Because maybe I am strawmanning you. Maybe I am, but I need to know more. Like what regulations are you okay with on the marketplace? Universal healthcare is a necessity. Yeah, see, I feel like we might disagree fundamentally on the philosophy of our policies, but I don't know that we would actually have a single policy we don't disagree on. You know, like me, like I feel like there's so many people like me and you, chillhead, and we need to start talking and getting along at least well enough to fucking come together on the shit that we want to see done in this country. Because regardless of like our individual philosophical differences, like we all fucking agree on universal health care. Why are we not just pursuing that as a policy? We all, for the most part, believe in connecting America's cities with high speed rail, or at the very least, reinvesting into America's infrastructure to rebuild some of the 60,000 fucking bridges and railroad trestles that are in utter need rehabilitation in this country. Like, we all agree on term limits for the most part. We all agree on, like, ranked choice voting being a better way to. There are so many things that we all agree on. We could pick like five of them and run a candidate with those five fucking ideas, those five central missions. Very, very fucking simple shit. And liberals and lefties could walk hand in hand to the voting booth to get that in. Marketplace is BS. Oh, you're talking about the healthcare marketplace. Okay, yes, you're right. I thought you were talking about like free market economics. And I was like, you're a strict capitalist, but you don't even like free market economics, huh? No, but okay. Now that I know what you're talking about the healthcare marketplace. Okay, I got you. I got you. I got you. America is not the land of the free. It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that anymore, certainly. Certainly, it's not the land of equal opportunity anymore. I mean, it just seems like so many people are fucked over and out from a very early age. Can we at least get affordable healthcare, like really cheap and accessible? Like we could get fully fucking universal healthcare in the United States. It's not a matter of the money not being there. It's very simple. It's literally just a matter of taxing the corporations, like not giving them so many tax loopholes, and reappropriating some of the money that's been stored in offshore accounts. Like there's some like relatively straightforward economic. I'm not saying it would be super easy and super fucking fun for the people that have to go through it. Like whatever. There's going to be some millionaires and billionaires that find themselves a little bit poor at the end of this. They're just going to have to take that loss in order to continue the like function of society. Like society cannot go on without a change to this system. I should be able to walk in urgent care and get a cancer screening for like $60. You should be able to walk into a fucking clinic in your town and be able to get a cancer screening for free. Fuck $60. Yeah, that would be better than what the current situation is. I'm not disagreeing with you really in principle, but I would go further. I think we can afford it, and I think it's morally righteous. Let me put it this way: Jesus would want us to fund everybody's health care. Didn't Jesus literally command his followers to heal the sick? I'm not a Christian, but I feel like Christian lefties should really start like heavily pushing the verses that talk about healing the sick in their discussions of universal health care. Thank you for the 99 cents. I appreciate that a ton. Thank you. You know I love that. Sad Dems have so much fraud could pay for everything for every American. Bro, Michael Young, I would be completely fine with Democratic Party being dissolved and done away with and replaced with some kind of new party that represents the labor of United States workers. I would be fine with that. I am not an ally of the Democrats. They don't consider me an ally, and I don't consider them a goddamn ally, all right? The only time the Democrats like people like me, the revolutionary left, is when they can use us in times like the 2024 election to try and drum up support. And like they can use the image of the revolutionary left to make themselves seem like they're the more badass party, the stronger party, the party more willing to embrace change. But then they ditch all of us as soon as they fucking lose the election or as soon as they win. It doesn't matter. The only time the Democratic Party has a use for the revolutionary left is in the lead up to an election. On November 6th, they don't give a fuck. And so I don't consider myself an ally of theirs because they don't consider me one. My entire identity around the fact that I'm trans. Contrary to what people will tell you. Like if I was an id-pol liberal that only cared about like what like demographic group I belonged to, and like I was a single issue voter who just cared about that in exclusion, like I would probably be like, okay, well I've got to vote Democrats because they're the ones that are nice to trans people. But like if they're not going to advance anyone's economic best interest, then like the science just shows, dude, when the economic situation for the average person gets fucked, one of the people to receive the brunt of the backlash from that is never it's not usually the corporations and people like that. It's fucking minorities. Like if you look at charts that documented the like the rates at which lynchings happened back in the day, and you looked at a chart from those same years documenting the price of cotton. When the price of cotton was nice and high, and farmers and rural people could get paid lots for their labor and for their crop, then lynchings went down. When the cotton price got low, and the factories weren't paying as much, and as a result, um, the mills and the scales weren't paying as much, lynchings would go up. Economic distress has a direct correlation with with minority oppression. Like, another way to put this, the worse off the average person is in a given uh, zone of economics, the more likely that given group is to oppress a minority group in their vicinity. There's actually an experiment with rats that shows this as well. It's called the hot plate experiment, I think. Basically, they subjected a bunch of rats to a, um, a basically a hot plate. Um, the walls were tall enough that with the assistance of one rat, like two rats could work together and scale the wall and get all the other rats out and then use each other to climb out. Like it was that simple. But rather than do that, rather than try and like work with each other, they would all, in very quick order, find the weakest or like most different rat and attack that rat and like just viciously and tear it apart as they started to burn their feet from the heating up hot plate, rather than do the logical thing like in any rational being. Like the rats given infinite amount of time in that dish would figure that out in 2 minutes, but they don't. Like, so it's interesting how like pressure, as you elevate the pressure on a given community, you increase the likelihood that it will lash out with physical violence or rhetorical violence at marginalized or already marginalized or minority communities in their midst. So that's why I focus so heavily on economics, because I feel like the better you make an economic situation for the most amount of people, the more likely you are to be able to make arguments that are pro-social in other ways. What's up, Patrick McElrath? iDubbbz moved to Canada? Damn. Nice. Do not move out of the U.S. It's still the best place on earth. I don't know if I'm going to move out of the U.S. or not. I think if somebody invited me to their country, I might. I keep joking about how I'm going to move to Kazakhstan, but they'll probably get taken over by Russia at some point. I don't want them to. Government of Kazakhstan, if you're cool with having me over there, invite me over. I'm not going to convert to Islam, but you know, I won't. I won't talk no shit. I think I can get through life talking shit only on Christianity, if that's cool. No, I'm kidding. I would never be welcome in Kazakhstan. The Kazakhstanis don't want my ass. Kazakhs. Sorry, they're not Kazakhstanis. They're Kazakhs. You speak their language or something? No, I just think it's like, okay, so here's what started it. It was an inside joke that started it. I was laughing with some friends on Discord one day and like researching some shit on Wikipedia, and I found out that like in a lot of ways, Kazakhstan is a better country than the United States. Like they have universal healthcare, really, really affordable, uh, like higher education, um, really like from what I could tell, well managed and utilized oil fields and natural gas reserves and things like that. Not as poor as a lot of other Soviet bloc countries, surprisingly. Lots of just beautiful, untapped, untouched wilderness. There's some other shit about their society that I thought was like, wow, that's actually better than we do things. Oh yeah. Trans people and gay people are allowed to exist, but they're not like there is like some fucking things there, you know, which compared to so basically they've got the situation that we've got right now, which is where if you're too loud and proud as a fucking queer activist, you're kind of eventually putting yourself up for being targeted by this administration. It seems like more and more likely, and people are getting more targeted for their political beliefs now more than they have since the fucking Red Scare. So it's like even though you're not allowed in Kazakhstan, like it's legally put into the law there that you can't be like, um, I forget how it words it, but it's like you can't be super loud and proud about being gay. Like you can't advertise it or whatever. You can be like gay and people can know, and you can talk about it, but you can't tell other people to be educated, from what I could tell. Um, But you compare that to a lot of other Soviet bloc countries or a lot of other countries with a huge Muslim population, and they don't have that. They've got strict laws on that kind of thing. You just get fucking killed for being gay in a lot of them, and delicious food, really delicious food, like profoundly delicious looking food. Sorry, I was teaching myself a song. I saw some NYT articles about Obama. Some unknown person sent Epstein. I haven't found anything implicating Obama yet or Biden. You probably won't. The truth of it is, even if the Democrats are in there en masse, who fucking cares? There's not a person on the left that has any loyalty to the damn Democrats in the first place. There's no amount of saying you hate the Dems, though, that will convince a right winger that has decided that you're just a Democrat that you're telling the truth. There is literally no amount of saying it. They don't care. You know why? Because when they're around the right company, they'll say they hate the Republican Party. But, like, unlike me, right? Like, I'll say it no matter who I'm around. I don't care who I'm talking to or what the situation is. I hate the Dems today, tomorrow, the next day, and every fucking hour and moment in between. But there are some people who only hate their political party when they're in front of other members of their political party and they can be honest about it. Or when they think they're around other people that, like, dude, that there is a big benefit. Let me just tell you guys a little secret. There's a huge benefit to keeping your mouth shut about your political beliefs when other people are opening up about theirs. There is a fucking real benefit because you can learn a whole lot of shit just by making someone think you're friendly to their way of thinking. You really want to get inside the mind of an actual fucking conservative? Let one think that you're one too. Yes, Pink Fur? Yeah, at the end of the day, Bill Clinton cares about Bill Clinton, same for MTG or Biden. Exactly. They're all fucking politicians. They're all fucking us up the ass. I don't have a political party I run to or believe in. Me neither. I'm not fucking big on political parties. I don't think they're very, like, actually effective at achieving um, the workers' will, which is what I care about. I give a fuck less about the owner class and what they want, but the people actually designing the software and running the machines and stocking the shelves and running the registers and mopping the floors, I care a lot about those people. Those people are actually the actual fucking shakers and movers in society, even more than my ass. Ultimately, it's not. I can fucking live, die, grow mushrooms in my ass crack. It doesn't make much difference to the fucking economy. Whereas, somebody working a retail job, at the very least, like, they're physical objects that their labor would be used to move. I did that once with a conservative only to find out they were paranoid and said that that the gay are out to destroy the nuclear family in the world. I know. Well, that's what I'm saying is that's why you guys always wonder, like, maybe you haven't done it in a while, not you particularly, but people in general will ask me, like, how do you have such a good mind into the conservative mindset? And it's because I've grown up in very conservative areas. And so my choice was, like, either I can be loud about my politics all the time and just argue with people constantly, or I can be a little more subtle and play at it like I'm like an even more subtle whatever than they are and be let in on all these deep dark secrets by just not really saying anything, just like, yeah, I know, that's the meme, isn't it? Or something like that, right? Like you can do a lot just by letting people think that you agree with them by not telling them that you disagree with them. Most people will assume you agree until you tell them that you don't, genuinely. And so you can take advantage of that to get to know what people actually fucking think. And when you actually get to know what the average conservative thinks, it's not every single one, obviously, but there's a lot of fucking conservatives. And not only that, it's not just something you can notice in your own life if you follow this step or the other step. It's been shown in studies that conservatives are way more likely to let fear rule their lives. They're way more likely to make fear-based decisions. They're more afraid in general. Like conservative people, I think have been shown to have like a like on average, they usually have more like there's this part of the brain that's associated with fear, and that's like more highly developed in people that are conservative. Probably once again, it's not universal, but it's something to be considered. Hugs, Phoebe. Hugs, Nicole. They're adverse to change, so they don't get over addiction and shit. Yeah, that's just sad to think about, though. How many people are locked into these toxic, awful habits that are bad for them in myriad ways? They don't ever change it because they're just afraid of like change, just baseline. Um, damn. Well, we made almost $20 today. That's kind of cool. It's getting pretty late, but it's not that late yet. Um, we probably won't get any more donations tonight, but thank you guys for those of you who have donated. Um, let's uh, let's hope the world starts to make a little more sense soon, huh? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be enjoyable? Um, what was the thing I was going to talk about? Fuck, I can't remember. I don't watch the news because it only show bad stuff on it, so I don't watch it. I don't blame you, William. I do not blame you. I mean, I talk about like the news a lot because ultimately it's a big part of my like channel model over here is talking about current events and that kind of thing. But like I recently survived an ice storm, went 5 days without power. Luckily we didn't lose a whole bunch of food because we had the good sense to take stuff outside that would be fine outside freezing. And then we put other stuff in the coldest sections of the house. And we just kept, we basically just lived in the kitchen and living room um, for 5 days. Thank you, Pink Fur, for the 99 cents. I really appreciate that. You are very kind, always in here. You're incredibly generous, and I love you. Thank you, Pink Fur. We basically lived in the living room and kitchen for 5 days, and during that time, because we didn't have any power, and because none of the county really around had any power, the cell phone towers were out. So I literally had no news at all for 5 straight days. It was actually kind of relieving and kind of nice, but it also put me a little behind in my content when I was able to start making content again. So it was kind of like a learning curve and a little much to get over, but eventually it was gotten over. And at this point, it's just a matter for me of keeping my exposure low. I think from now on, I'm going to allow myself like an hour daily of news intake, and then like I might talk about it more later. I might talk about the things surrounding it, but actual intake, I'm gonna do an hour or less from now on. because there's definitely been times in my life, especially over the last year, where I have watched 3, 4, 5 fucking hours worth of news related content in one day. And that shit is not good for you. That shit is not good for you at all, dog. Yes, we need more love and compassion, like that song. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing there is, just a little too little love. Yep, 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 yep. Amethyst knows. Amethyst knows for sure. We may make it out to the other side sometime soon, I hope. I think things are changing. Well, you better swim fast or you'll sink like a stone. For the times they are changing. Learning about what's happening in the ice centers ruined my mood today. Yeah, um, I'm not gonna lie to you, Riley. I knew. I done knew. But that's because I've worked in corrections. There has been a backslide in this country that nobody talks about because culturally we have become so inoculated with true crime content that a lot of people have no sympathy or empathy for their fellow human being as soon as they got fucking silver irons wrapped around their wrists. Because of that, there is a degree of inhumanity that has been normalized in correctional institutions and correctional environments and detainment environments that constitutes utter depravity. But like I said, it's been normalized. Speaking out against it, a lot of people are numb, frankly. A lot of people that will hear the news of what's going on in these ICE centers will, well, let me put it this way. I wish it was a story that would affect the people it needs to affect. But I fear that the people who need to have their minds changed by horrifying stories like this have been coddled into believing that anytime someone is in a detainment environment or a correctional environment or anything like that, that it should be horrible, that it should be depravity. There are a lot of people who just think that it should be. And they hear news like that and they're like, oh, so it's just working like a normal jail then? I've known that that depravity was there, that that bloodlust was there, that that lack of concern for human life was there since I quit my job at the prison in 2020. It was the reason I left. I couldn't stand working there anymore, knowing that I was surrounded at all times with people who didn't give a fuck at all about their fellow human being. Same situation in Palestine. The shit that Larry Lawton went through was in the mid late 90s. His channel is here on YouTube. Brace for impact if you go. Oh, I know. Lots of stories, many such cases. When I did organized activism, I always got stonewalled for not employing terror tactics more readily in the face of fascism. Now look. When I did organize, I always got stonewalled for not employing terror tactics. So are you saying you were the one wanting to employ terror tactics, or you were the one fighting out against it? I'm not sure if I understand your stance on all this. Don't touch that cut on your chin, let it heal by itself. I know. I need to stop it. I'm worried. I need to quit it. I need to stop touching it. Pink Fur's mom energy is coming out. Stop messing with your fucking cut. I'm not a little girl, Mom. Shut up. You can't tell me what to do. I'm big. I can do what I want. Sorry you had to do that for money. I've had to fix sewer lines before, but I'd rather be a lineman than work in a prison. I mean, it was the job that I could get that rescue me from my economic situation the most quickly. I did it. I did what I had to do, and I got through with it. You know, it is what it is. It is what it freaking is. I'm glad I had the experience because I now know what it's like on, um, the inside of a prison and shit, so. Ditto. The capitalist system will push you anywhere. Yeah, 100%. It's part of why I was considering like joining the Navy before Trump got elected is because I figured, well, if I can lose enough weight to get in and I can get through all the hiring processes and all that. They were scouting me heavily back when I was a kid, so I figured nowadays they still probably love my ass. So then Trump got elected, and I was like, oh well, guess I'm not doing that. But I am gonna have to get off of here soon. We are up to $18.98 in donations, and I would like to thank you all for that because that is really wonderful. $19. It's almost $20. That's like 16 or something after YouTube takes its cut. Not bad. Not bad. Probably after taxes even less, but that's still fine. I'm living the dream, as they say. No, I don't know about that, but it has been a pretty productive stream as streams go lately. Oh shit, look at that. Patrick McElrath with the fucking 1999. God damn, holy shit, 20 fucking dollars as we're about to leave. What a gentleman. What a goddamn awesome motherfucker. What a fucking mensch, dude. Look at that. Anybody else want to add to that and make it a tip train? Tip train, tip train, tip train. No, I'm kidding. I got to see inside jail the hard way not fun. Oh, dude, yeah. And you don't get to see, like, I've been to jail, like, it's, not for anything major or anything. Like, it didn't fucking stay long. It's, not the same, though. Like, inside is not the same as inside from the standpoint of the guards. Like, being a fucking being a correctional officer gives you such a unique face of interaction and closeness. Those were the W of my life. Nice. That might be $6. Yeah, something like that. It's something. It's awesome though. It's great. It's amazing. I appreciate you guys a ton. Y'all are fucking dope. Look at that. We have made fucking $40 tonight because y'all are fucking amazing. And I love you all. What a fucking mensch. What a fucking gentleman. Holy shit. Let me take one more drag off this J with you guys. Let's just enjoy a nice little evening smoke before we go, and we'll call it a night. There's one of those gas station joints like I was saying earlier, and if you've got something similar you can smoke up, please consider joining me for a celebratory puff. There's a thin fucking line between COs and convicts at any rate. Solidarity. Dude, there so is. I've been on both sides of the bars. Like I said, I was never a convict. I never went to prison, but I was in jail for a brief time, over a week, but not super long. And I definitely feel a deep sense of solidarity with prisoners. My phone actually used to have on the back of it, it used to have a um, you can't even see the remains of it now, but it used to have an abolish prisons sticker on it. The phone case did, at least. If you hear the train I'm on, you will know how far I've gone. You will know that I have gone 500 miles. 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles. What a pretty song. Oh, that's fine. I blow smoke in you guys' face all the time. If you see the train I'm on, you shall know how far I've gone. You will know that I have gone 500 miles. 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles. You can hear that whistle blow 500 miles. If for just one night I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching toward the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through this land so wild and savage, and find the Northwest Passage to the sea. When do you go live again? I will probably go live again around probably around 10 p.m. CST tomorrow night. I usually go live at least once a day. Sometimes I go live a little bit earlier in the day. That's why it's a good idea to not just hit the subscribe button, but hit the little bell. I am not the kind of person who's constantly posting shorts all day. I'm not constantly reposting stuff or making text posts all the time. I will not bombard you with notifications, but it is a good idea if you want to see all the live streams to hit the little bell, because that'll make sure that you do get notified when I go live. It's usually around 10 p.m. CST, but it sometimes can be a little bit earlier depending on the day and what we got going on. But yeah, good seeing tonight, baby. Aw, thank you, Pink Fur. I appreciate that. You guys have been really kind and really generous as always. Just one last call as I go, because literally as soon as I get done saying this, I'm going to be leaving. If you have enjoyed the live stream or the music I played earlier or the acapella singing I just did or anything else, and you want to reward me financially for that, I am totally fine with that. I'm a shameless whore. Thank you, and thank you very much. So you can check out my links down below. I do have a little Cash App, which is nice to donate to directly because it's usable instantly and yada yada yada. But you can also send a super thanks on any video of mine, pretty much, as far as I know. You can do that. If you would like to support the channel but you don't have the money to actually donate directly, consider putting on my videos to watch as you go to sleep. That is a really fucking good way to add to my watch hours and to show YouTube that there's a quality to my content that is perhaps worth paying attention to even during times of economic downturn. So, um, with all that being said, um, thank you to everybody who's hung out. Like, it's so fun to be able to do these. And thank you to everybody who's donated because it's thanks to you and your efforts that this is as profitable as it is. I mean, sometimes it's not that profitable, but when it is, you guys are the reason why. You guys are what underlies that. I haven't seen Kenny in a while. I hope they're okay. I haven't seen them in days. That makes me sad. I hope they're fine. Hope they're cool. But yeah, have a good night, everybody. Thank you all for hanging out, and I will see you guys later. Peace the fuck out.